I crossed the threshold, gripping a small gift adorned with a glossy black ribbon. I steeled myself for another night of masking my discontent, flashing courteous smiles, and embodying the role of the loyal partner. But the sight before me froze me in place. The room erupted in boisterous laughter. Glasses of champagne clinked in celebration. And there, at the heart of it all, knelt her CEO, staring up at my wife with a diamond so extravagant it mocked every sacrifice I'd made for her. His voice cut through the music, the chatter, and pierced my soul. Will you abandon your pitiful, insignificant husband and become my wife? Her single word reply, yes, exploded within me. The crowd roared with glee, as if I were the evening's fool, the man who'd built their empire reduced to a vicious jest. I didn't let the gift fall from my grasp. I didn't shout or beg. I simply turned and left. She had once been my everything, or perhaps I'd only persuaded myself of that truth. We met when she was drowning in debt, her car sputtering, her pantry empty. I filled those gaps. I funded her education, paid her mother's medical bills, and stood by her through every corporate victory as she claimed the company as hers. But it was mine, 90% mine, forged from my vision, my money, my toil. I gave her the spotlight because she glowed so fiercely in it. And for years, I convinced myself that was enough. I should have seen the cracks sooner. Her late nights at the office, her withdrawal from my touch, the faint grimace when someone credited me as the true power behind her throne. Love blinds, trust binds, and I was too entangled to recognize the betrayal she orchestrated. The first undeniable hint surfaced 3 months earlier. A hotel receipt, carelessly tucked in her purse, was unlike her meticulous habits. Then came a hushed warning from an employee, half-voiced, and finally, an anonymous email with photos. Her entering a penthouse, his hand resting possessively on her hip. My heart broke, but my face remained impassive. I thanked the sender, deleted the evidence, and carried on as if the ground hadn't shifted beneath me. But it had. That night, I began to strategize. No outbursts, no confrontations, just meticulous calculation. I scrutinized every financial record, every shared document, every legal clause. The company, the house, the accounts. All were mine. She never bothered with the details, assuming my devotion was unbreakable. I watched her spend recklessly, oblivious to the fact that I held the reins. In secret, I met with my attorneys, moving with surgical precision. Every asset she used was redirected, every card and account placed under my control. I let her bask in her opulence, lavish trips, couture dresses, endless champagne, while I tightened the invisible leash. I waited for the precise moment to strike. That moment came tonight, when her yes resounded through the room. A subtle smile flickered across my face, unseen but authentic. As she spoke that word, everything she believed she owned evaporated. With a few taps on my phone, I canceled every payment, every credit line, her planned Parisian escape, the yacht booked for next month, even the mortgage she didn't know was in my name. Then the company, my company, 90% of its shares, valued at $357 million. With one calculated move, I sold it all, obliterating her world and her lover's empire in a heartbeat. Their dynasty turned to ash. By the time I reached home, my phone was flooded with notifications, 156 missed calls from her, him, the board, and so-called allies who once vied for our favor, now desperate for explanations. I ignored them all. At midnight, a sharp, frantic pounding shook the door. I opened it to find her, no diamond gleaming on her finger, no trace of mirth, just mascara staining her cheeks, her hair a mess, her confidence shattered. She tried to speak, but I let the silence choke her. Finally, she stammered, "What have you done?" I stepped aside, pointing to the table where documents were neatly arranged. Proof of ownership, proof of reclamation, proof of her ruin. Her knees buckled, and she sank into a chair, her eyes darting over the figures, the signatures, the dates. "You've destroyed everything," she murmured, her voice barely audible. "No," I answered calmly. "I took back what was mine. You destroyed yourself." Then she pleaded for the first time in years, not for love or mercy, but for money, for survival. She confessed her CEO lover had abandoned her, deeming her worthless the moment he realized the company was gone, the fortune slipping through his manicured hands. The man she betrayed me for had discarded her like trash, and now she turned to me for salvation. I offered none. I watched her unravel in my living room. A woman who once believed herself untouchable now reduced to tears on my floor. I felt nothing, no rage, no sorrow, only closure. When she finally met my eyes, her face red and voice raw, I leaned in and delivered the only truth that mattered. You wanted me broken, humiliated, a fool. Look around, darling. Who's powerless now? I walked to the door, opened it, and waited. She stumbled out, her dignity in ruins. The door clicked shut behind her, and for the first time in years, the silence felt like freedom.